Hi, everyone. Welcome to this special edition of the Class E Podcast. This is our everyday entrepreneur segment of the Class E Podcast. And of course, this is the podcast that's made possible through the partnership between the Hill Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship here at Furman University and the Communication Studies Department here as well. I'm your host, Mary Sturgill, and our guest today is from the very first GVL Starts Cohort, the first class. And it just so happens that he is the winner of that competition that we had during that class. So we are pleased to have Eric Cooperman here. He is the founder of Bottle Titan. Eric, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here.
So I remember when I first heard this idea and I thought, this man is going to revolutionize the wine industry.
We can only hope.
So for people who don't really know you yet, because you will know, especially if you're a wine drinker, what is Bottle Titan?
So Bottle Titan solves a huge problem. So we, as individuals, I don't know if you drink beer or wine. Wine, yeah. So we take these lavish trips to vineyards all around the world because the wine tastes so much better in France, and the wine tastes so much better when you're in Napa Valley. And there's a reason for that. There's kind of a distance between the winery and Greenville, South Carolina, right? There's really no oversight on how that wine or beer or liquor is transported, and some things can go awry.
So when you talk about some things can go awry, what are you talking about?
So
you're talking about in shipment.
During shipment. So when you look at this time of year, so this is January, February, and things are freezing in the mountains. So
right.
You have to cross the Sierra Nevadas, and you have to go through some really cold country, and things can freeze, right? So if you don't have a temperature regulated cargo container, you're gonna have problems. You could have frozen wine that you don't know about because it could freeze when it's going over the mountains. It gets to Greenville, everything's a frost,
right?
And there's damage that's occurred, but the bottle looks the same,
right?
And the wineries get frazzled because they have no way to see that, and that's what Bottle Titan does. We are a service that kind of oversees the whole logistical chain of beverage supply.
So when you're overseeing that transport, it's not that you're physically in the car looking, drinking as you go, having a good time, driving cross country. How are you doing that?
So we use IoT devices, which Internet of Things. This is kind of a new world for me. I've been in hospitality my whole world, and I just thought to myself, it'd be great to fill in that gap. And how do we do that? We fill it in with these little sensors, these little devices that kind of speak to the universe, to the cloud, and send all of the environmental data, of course, and then location information as well to the cloud, and allows us to have full eyes on something that may travel 3,000 miles or across the oceans, and the whole time monitoring the environmental controls, making sure that product is going to market in perfect condition.
Now, what happens if someone sees something that they're like, oh, it did freeze over the Rockies? What am I to do now?
Well, nowadays, there's a huge issue because there is no evidence. The wine, obviously, you open the cork and somebody buys it, takes it, or is dining at a restaurant.
So you never find out until the consumer drinks it.
Yeah. So the consumer gets a bad bottle and they think, oh, well, XYZ winery, they don't know what they're doing. I'm never drinking wine from them again.
Right.
And then XYZ winery loses sales of for how long do we drink? We start drinking in 18 and upwards. So that's the big concern, is just like filling in that gap. And really understanding what is happening with each of those pallets, the bottles, the cases as they go across the country or over the water. So
I know you did this projection. How much money can Bottle Titan save the wine and beer and spirit industry really too as well? How much money can Bottle Titan potentially save that industry?
Yeah, so we're working with Clemson right now on the exact numbers, but our estimate, and just talking with importers and distributors, about 4% of all wine, liquor, beer that's shipped across the world gets damaged, and we're talking an industry that's $2.2 trillion. $2.2 trillion. So when you look at 4%, that's $90 billion of damaged, spoiled, unusable product that sometimes will make its way to the market.
Right. And so this prevents it from making its way to the market and thus damaging whatever company's reputation.
Yeah. So you have the reputation in line. You have consumers who spend, especially with some of the high-end bottles,
right?
Thousands
of dollars in some cases.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you have a major issue when someone who knows that winery buys that wine, so year after year after year, and creates a collection, and then it's bad.
Right. Wow.
And then you have lawsuits.
And then they lose all that money. Yeah.
And then things just go awry. So
right.
So this really puts the tabs on all of that, and it allows a much better system than we have today, which is zero. We have no system. There is no oversight.
Yeah.
So the demand is there, and then when damage actually occurs.
Right. You know exactly when.
Who do you go to when you have to file an insurance claim? The cases look great, the palate looks great, but the wine tastes bad.
Right.
You have
so this proof. Allows you to have that proof, that evidence, so it will help them actually recoup some of the money that they would lose on the bad bottles.
Exactly.
Makes so much
at least
sense.
Validate a claim.
Absolutely.
When they go to the insurance company, they take a picture of an entire container of wine that's spoiled. It doesn't look bad.
Right.
And then they can show you exactly where the damage happened, who is in possession, and it creates a much bigger paper trail than we have today.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to let everybody know that you just didn't happen upon this. You are a sommelier,
yes.
And so you've been in this industry for a long time, and you saw this problem, and you said, "I think I can fix it."
I experienced this problem,
yeah.
and that's where this idea came from. Years of kind of training my palate and running restaurants and private clubs, and realizing that I'll go and taste a beer at one of the restaurants, and the beer is bad. It's not that our lines are dirty or there's something wrong with the actual beer itself. It was brewed properly and it was served properly, but that black hole between when it left the brewery and when it arrived, something happened, something went awry, and no one knows.
Yeah. So you won the cohort basically because it's a sponsored, the city of Greenville sponsors and we have all these other sponsors. So you won $5,000 and a year of office space. Is that right?
It is a beautiful office. I feel so. I don't know.
You're on your way, man.
Yeah, going up in this world.
Yeah.
Like the Jeffersons. It's a great office downtown, and what really where the value is the fact that Clemson is there and University of South Carolina is there and there's VCs there and of course Furman is there and all of the support is right there on the third floor, and I'm in the middle of it, and so I'm not only bumping elbows with great minds, but I'm able to, if I have an issue, knock on a door and say, hey, I need something. I don't know what I don't know. Can you help me out? And that's the spirit of what Anthony and Brian built with GVL Starts. That's the spirit, and really kind of carrying it over into, yes, the money was awesome and much needed.
Right.
But the support, the ongoing support, that is where the real magic in winning for me.
For sure. Those connections are huge because you're right. And I love what you said. You don't know what you don't know, right? And sometimes you don't even know what questions to ask when you're new to this entrepreneurism, right? I want to ask you, things have happened since, lots of things. Since we ended that cohort.
Yes.
Where are you now? What's happened since the winning?
Yeah, man, everything is just a whirlwind. And if you look at this project in whole, this was a scratch. A note on a scratch piece of paper.
That's the way it starts.
6 months ago, 7 months ago.
Wow.
And I happened to find GVL Starts maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the program started. And I said, oh, I have a great idea. No idea. I have no knowledge or experience or anything when it comes to technology, but I know the beverage side of things really well. Right. And wouldn't it be cool to kind of piece this all together if I just had a little help? Yeah. So I think that's where GVL Starts kind of pushed me and kind of gave me the resources to say, okay, well, this is exactly what I need. So I'm at the point right now where we've located the hardware. There's a major international company that we've got the hardware from. Now that we have that secured, we've done several beta tests just like literally bouncing these things all across the country in trucks and cars and using all kinds of transportation. And we're actually doing an international beta test starting tonight.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Tonight, yeah. So now we need the software because I'm at home like reading. So these sensors are really sensitive, and they're bringing in 10,000 lines of data points per day. And I'm physically kind of going in and looking at the data points and looking at the temperature signatures and vibration signatures and kind of piecing together where everything is in the country and if it's been shipped right or not. But now we go into the software and let the software do it for me.
Yeah, I can imagine that would take forever if you were to do that manually. Yeah,
but it's fun, being able to dig into something like that, especially knowing that I have no background experience at all in technology. At least it's teaching me what's going on behind the scenes. It's not just going right into building a great piece of software and you have the Taj Mahal and everything's great. And then I go out and start talking about like, oh yeah, these sensors do this and this and this. And I have no knowledge of any of it. It's all, BS. But at least like I'm getting my hands dirty in the sandbox and being able to play around with that, understand it truly. So when we go and start truly developing the back end and front end of the software, it's all kind of part of
and you understand what you need it to, what you need the software, the data points that you need the software to come up with. Right. So you can help people. How do you grow? What's your goal for that?
Growth is going to be one of those like magical pivot points, or the time where, oh my gosh, like this is real, because I'm still, this is only 6 or 7 months in, so still,
and a lot has happened in that time.
I don't, I still have that like major imposter, syndrome going on.
We'll get over that because you're here.
But so it to think, and in my heart of hearts, I know this is a huge problem, and I know that we are just really going to blow up. But to go into the state of mind of just like how to grow and how to really take this thing off, it's the software. Right. So we have the technology, and now we need to just write some really good software. I look at this as hardware enabled SaaS. So SaaS is a service, right?
Exactly.
And coming from hospitality, being in hospitality for 24 years, that's one thing that I get. I have that hospitality heart. The one thing that I've missed in the last 7 months is that service heart. Yeah. And I believe that we can put that service heart into the software, and that's what really will make us unique. Because the sensors and IoT is all over the world. This is nothing brand new, but the sector is new, and the sector has a problem. And if we could really put together something that really hits the mark on servicing an industry that needs help, that's where our success is.
Well, and I would think too, there are multiple ways that this could help the industry, not just with giving the data for the insurance purposes, but also the shipping industry and how to better fit containers to what they're shipping and how to control things a little bit better, right? If they have a starting point to say, okay, well, this is not optimal for wine. Yeah. Maybe we should make it optimal, and we'll get more wine distributors or more wineries for us to distribute their wine. Yeah, I would think that would be another benefit of it.
And a lot of people have made the comment, well, you're going to shake up the supply chain, and the forwarders are really going to hate this, but I disagree. Right, I disagree, and in looking at a service heart, we also have to look at a lot of the logistics companies that the wineries and breweries have contracts with. They're not doing anything malicious. Right. They don't want to damage product. Yeah. And if they just had a little bit of knowledge and feedback, they can do better at what they're doing. That's what they want. Exactly. And those that aren't doing good and probably know they're not doing good will kind of fall to the side. So if anything, we'll make a stronger supply chain and allow the supply chain to get the feedback that they need to service their clients, which is the wineries and breweries and distilleries, better. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking would happen with that. So before I let you go, I want you to give, you're very new to this, but I still want you to give, you've learned a lot in the last 6 months. So give anyone who has an idea, who hasn't taken action on that idea, give them a piece of advice that you think, had you known, might have helped you a little bit more.
Well, being in the moment, for sure. That like that's it. Has been the one thing, and one thing that my wife has done for me is just ground me. Take a second and not be overwhelmed with the bigger picture, which sounds counterintuitive to the whole, starting a company, but taking just little successes, little small steps every single day, journaling and being able to look back a month from now and saying, okay, well, I don't feel like I got anything done this month. And you can see week by week, you're really, throwing a little pebble into a pile, and that pile is getting bigger and bigger. So for me, it's just really taking a step back and believing in yourself, and also, just breathing.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I love that.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, it will be okay, and you will get there by taking all of those steps. And I love what you said about writing down the journey, because here's my prediction for you, Eric, is that you're going to revolutionize this industry by this, and at some point you're going to need to write a book about how I revolutionized, if I could talk, this industry. Right, that's my prediction.
Okay.
So, and I believed in you since day one.
So that'll be a new thing, because writing books. That again,
see, a new venture. There you go.
A new venture. Yeah.
There you go. Eric, if people want to get in touch with you, how should they say they want to use Bottle Titan and they want to be one of your test people?
Absolutely. So we're doing beta tests. As I said, we're launching one tonight internationally. So if you'd like to get in touch with me, it's ecooperman@bottletititan.com.
All right. Wonderful. Eric, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Great seeing you.
All right, Class E podcast listeners, this is the special segment of the Class E podcast that we're calling Everyday Entrepreneurs, and Eric Cooperman fits right into that. Remember, this is the podcast that's also brought to you through the Hill Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Furman University and their partnership with the Communication Studies Department. I have a few announcements we're very excited about to share with you. The Hill Institute is excited to announce another packed cohort of 25 aspiring entrepreneurs for that GVL Starts program Eric and I were just talking about. It is an 8-week experience put on in partnership with the City of Greenville, the South Carolina Department of Commerce, and SCRA, and it delivers the training, the connections that Eric was talking about that were so important, and access to capital for startups of all types who are launching or growing their ventures here in Greenville, South Carolina, or in the close area. If this program sounds like something you or a friend would want to learn more about or apply for, simply Google GVL Starts. Plus, if you haven't checked out our brand new YouTube channel, you can do that. Just Google the Class E podcast on YouTube and be sure to subscribe so you don't ever miss an episode. And of course, you can catch the Class E podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Remember, this podcast is brought to you through the partnership between the Hill Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship and the Communication Studies Department here at Furman. It's produced by student producers Emma Kerr and Eliza Polich, a true example of the Furman advantage. Until next time, everybody, dream big.